I just realized that very often fans and sometimes commentators term inconsequential matches as dead rubbers. Now, the term dead rubber could mean that there is lack of viewer interest in that match. But have you ever thought what it means for a broadcaster? A broadcaster assigns a media value for a tournament basis the total number of matches available. The inventory that is available is a function of the total number of matches that are going to be played in the tournament, irrespective of who's playing it. And therefore, if there is one match that is not going to be of high viewer interest, it doesn't matter because the broadcaster still has to go out there and sell it. How do broadcasters do this? They do this by bundling. So what they do is typically they take the premium matches, when India is playing Australia or India is playing England or, of course, India, Pakistan, that is bundled with the rest of the matches to arrive at a certain value that advertisers are willing to pump in. And in that sense, the India-Pakistan match is actually not just a fixture. It's not just one match in a fixture. It is the load-bearing platform of the entire tournament. Now imagine that if the total valuation in terms of advertising and sponsorship revenue for a tournament is 100, and let's say we know that an India-Pakistan match typically accounts for between 35 to 40% of viewership and maybe about 40 to 45% of the revenues of the entire tournament. If Pakistan concedes the match to India and pull out, it doesn't mean that the broadcaster loses 35 to 40% of the total revenues. What happens to the balance 65% is of equal interest. So when there is no India-Pakistan fixture, which as I said is the tentpole property on which the entire bundle has been sold, what happens then is that the advertiser then places a less premium on the rest of the matches, asks for make goods, and there is an overall downward push in terms of the value of the entire tournament as a property. And therefore, what the broadcaster stands to lose is not the 35%, but typically in the region of 45 to 50%, which means that the loss of one single India-Pakistan encounter can erode as much as 50% of the tournament value. Imagine what it does for over-the-top OTT streamers. OTT streamers basically look at an India-Pakistan match and club it along with 50 or 100 other properties in the year, irrespective of whether it is a movie, whether it is an awards night, whether it is an entertainment show, it doesn't matter. These are all single events that aggregate audiences with high reach. And therefore, these are premiumly priced. These are viewed by advertisers as great opportunities to come on board because for an OTT platform, it actually drives social engagement. It drives app installs. One of the best ways, if you've just launched an app, if you're a startup and if you've just launched an app and what you're looking for is your audience to download the app onto their phones. The easiest way to do that is to get on board advertising for an India-Pakistan match and say that I'm going to leverage this particular match to drive the maximum number of app installs. Now, in case the match gets forfeited by Pakistan and there is no India-Pakistan encounter, imagine the plight of the OTT streamers. The entire proposition is sold on the basis of app installs, which is completely going to get eroded. And therefore, the summary of the point really is that it is not just a political grandstanding issue. It is not just political bluster. From a broadcaster lens, it is a commercial black swan. And that is what people need to understand, that it erodes 50% of the tournament value. The medium to long-term implication of something like this is even more serious. The ICC tournaments are going to be subject to geopolitical risk of this kind, with individual boards threatening to pull out, the writing is on the wall. The valuation for ICC tournaments in terms of sponsorship and advertising is going to face downward pressure, and this is definitely going to have a medium-term impact on the credibility for ICC tournaments. You see, the way advertisers pay premiums is on the basis of predictability, not on the basis of who's going to win or the margin of victory. None of those matters. The fact that an ICC tournament commands predictability, it means that the given number of matches will happen, the ad inventory that's been sold will be available, and the premiums that are paid will be honored, is what drives valuation from a broadcaster perspective. And without an India-Pakistan encounter, we are staring at a loss of more than half the value that the advertiser has paid out.